This is so boring and forever taking.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna be playing some fun and exciting fair and honest bruiser matches. And for the first match, we're up against the legend himself, Mr. Kana. I'm pretty sure it's Kana, but like whatever. I did foreshadow this a bit in my earlier videos, but I did build some nice and fun standard units, as you will soon see, because one of the weaknesses of my drafting style, which is like heavily relies on speed contest of Peira struggles against some few key things in the meta. She's really bad into these like imprint races where the imprints include like Sid or Vildred, and she's really bad into like a lot of degen units. Like she's not good into Sage Ball that are like 300 ER. She's not good into Edward, Dilbit, or like especially when they're like picked together. And this is not my first time playing Kana. I did try to race him, but then he has a lot more imprints built than I do, so I don't really have a choice. He's doing his it's not his, it's like this is a very popular single target cleave kind of setup where you have 2 CR pushers and 1 dual attack enabler in Wanderer Silk. I pick Sylvan Sage Vivian plus Celine here because Sylvan Sage Vivian is a durable DPS unit, and with the amount of non-attack units he has, I was hoping to shoehorn his DPS into being survival ones that weren't named BBK, and luckily they weren't. I last pick Peira because Peira should be able to outspeed Flan and Alots with an imprint, so he forces a ban, or else what ends up happening is that Peira can potentially CC lock one of the 2 DPSs. And yeah, this is one of the most obnoxious standard cores in SC Arrowell and Destina. This match is pretty self-explanatory, I guess. I pretty much won in the draft, in my opinion, because Peira would have restricted ML Celine and not allowed her to get pushed, and Peira can eventually stun lock Celine with enough souls later in the game. Or what's going to happen this match is that SC Arrowell matches really well into ML Celine because she strips and stuns, and she's not built with any crit, so you can safely attack into her, like safely attack into her most of the time. My opponent, Mr. 50-50 Gamer himself, is gonna continue and try, and I'm not gonna knock him for it, but the odds are quite against him. And if you didn't know this, Sylvan Sage Vivian actually matches decently well into ML Celine. Granted, she's not on Dust Devil because her lifesteal effect is actually reduced by the what's it called? The Sylvan Sage Vivian passive that gives her 70% damage reduction, so she doesn't heal a lot. So eventually you can wear her down. Unfortunately, my Arrowell does brick the strip on her, or else this match would have been over. But this match is still pretty over because she can't break through my tanky cores fast enough, and my Destina, when she reses, she'll res Celine at the top of the CR bar. Where she was before she died, so it's pretty much over. But I guess he wants to keep trying, and I'm not gonna slander somebody for trying. So I also think it was a mistake to S3 with Sylvan Sage Vivian. I think I should just S1 for the speed buff to help cycle around, because with speed buff, Sylvan Sage Vivian gets to around 280 speed, so she will climb the speed bar a lot faster than she would be right now. But it doesn't really matter. Fun fact, my SC Orwell only has like 150 FRES, so she RNG resisted Flan's debuffs, which is why I guess he's not trying to run his CC into her, but if he tried with Wanderer Silk, like I think he would have had like a fair shot. But yeah, I just poke. Oh no, I decided not to poke Celine just in case I get a RNG counterattack like that Destina S1 crit, and I can just res my whole team with Destina. And Storm Sword, like Celine's artifact and S2 push her up to the front of the CR bar, and to finish off the game by saying that my Celine was better. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, I'm just kidding. It was a draft diff. Kana low-key forced his draft a bit too hard, in my opinion, and that's why I won. Like, he definitely has better gear than me. It's not really a surprise. But yeah, what can you do? In the second match, we're still playing standard because a lot of people were like commenting or like DMing me like, you're saying you're not cleaving or pulling with speed, but you are. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I have to stay true to my words and try not to speed contest and race as much. In the second match, my opponent is picking pretty interestingly. Like, I've seen Ice Dominio before, and if you pick Landy into Ice Dominio thinking that you counter her, unless your Landy is on Bloodstone, Landy is literally going to kill herself with a damage reflect on all the units. So I would not recommend that. So I just don't want to deal with a reflect on any of my units, considering my Stenny and Aiden are pretty squishy. So I end up just banning it, and my opponent surprisingly bans Aiden and leaves in the rest of my units because Yoha is a pretty hard counter for everyone on his team that isn't Kayron, and then Shu counters Kayron and Edward really hard, so I thought Shu might be the person he's banning, but apparently not.
I'll take your life.
Also, this Celine was like really fast. She's like 295, and I'm like, power to you, dude. Like, I wish I had the spear gear for that. Unfortunately, I do not. I actually S1 the ML Celine here. I think in hindsight I should have tried to S2 the Destina or something to help kill her, but yeah, you're gonna be able to, you're going to see one of my new techs this season, which is a much squishier Stenny with higher damage, but also on pen set. So what you're seeing here is that unmitigated Destinas, I have tuned it so that vigor buff on my Stenny should be able to kill most unmitigated Destinas. But this Destina is apparently on the tankier side, so like whatever, I'll just finish her off with Shu. And we can just continue the game. ML Celine honestly is not too threatening because she can't reliably kill people on my team. Like Yoha's too tanky, Shu is probably too tanky. There's no way in hell she can kill Emma Lilius without attack buff either, so
Be careful.
I don't know what my opponent's thinking. Also, if you are if you've known me for a long time, you know that I hate Shu with like a burning passion, but you know, it's my turn to hate crime people with Shu, you know? I'm tired of her countering. Mine's on speed pen set, so she's not like countering on direct attacks on her, but it's my turn to finally be able to show people how disgusting I am by having Shu S1, S2 and one shot all their units. I'm very excited. You're gonna be seeing a lot of Shu action in the next game because another player decides to take me to Frenzy 7. Most of my matches end before Frenzy 3 kicks in, so playing till Frenzy 7 is just like mind-numbing. Anyway, I've been holding off on Shu S3 because Edward had a debuff and ML Celine would have countered, but yeah, look, she's doing it. She's doing the S1, S2 tech. We love to see it here. I also thought that Yoha would be pretty decent into Kayron, but I learned this match that if this Kayron gets enough counterattacks, Yoha actually dies due to the Aureus plus just like the raw damage she takes from being a grass unit, which is kind of like oof. Instead of soul burning here, I just S2 for the small heal and pray that he doesn't counter. And my opponent is forced to just like raw dog the S3 into Shu, but it's kind of copium. Like my Shu's kind of tanky, a little too tanky on top of the elemental proof plus anti-crit. So yeah, we luckily win the match. And then on to my next match. And if you don't know the background, the person 6-duck we're up against is a legend Korean player that really enjoys his tank down comps, as you're about to see. And this is what one of my favorite epicseven YouTubers calls hostage gaming. It's Azalea. Or Azalea? Words are hard. Anyway. He picks this tank down comp with Ruel and Lionheart to punish my Conquerilius being forced to S3, S2 after the first turn, and I respond by picking Operator Sigrid and Zahak. And while most people have their Zahaks on that, what's that thing called? Most people have Zahak on that S2 EE that gives him attack buff, but my Zahak is still on the resource reduction because I rely on Zahak to bully standard players. And personally, the added utility of reducing focus, or yeah, the utility of reducing focus or people's bars like Archdemon, Arya, and whatever is much more valuable to me than a piddly attack buff. So there's that. Again, I pick Shu here, even though I'm the biggest Shu anti. Like, please cancel me later. But I have to ban Solitaria because I have no cleansers other than Zahak's one-turn cleanse, which Solitaria will easily overwhelm. And my opponent bans Operator Sigrid because Operator Sigrid pretty much hard counters his FCC pick and lets me one-shot his Lionheart or Politis. Like, problem-free. Anyways, I give literally no fucks and just press my buttons with Sea Lilius. My justification was that I could just cleanse Stenny because I'm not too worried that he's gonna debuff Shu because of the elemental advantage. So I just push back Politis, cleanse myself off with Zahak, and push up my Spectre Teamria, and I just S3 the Lionheart. So what's important about this is Zahak's S3 reducing resources makes Lionheart go to 0. What's it called? 0. I think she uses Fighting Spirit, so she's at 0 Fighting Spirit. So even if I proc a dual attack next turn, it won't matter because she won't be able to S3 because Lionheart needs 80 Fighting Spirit to S3, if I remember correctly, and she starts off with 50, and she gets 40 or something? Anyway. Doesn't matter. So now the name of the game is that I have to try and kill this Ruel as soon as I can and try and hope to rush down his Ruel before... No, that's wrong. No, I have to try and kill Lionheart first and then try and kill Ruel. I proc Lionheart because I don't really have a choice here, and my Shu doesn't S2 because why would you? She's on left side. But as you can see, Lionheart wasn't able to actually S3, and Zahak S1 gets really close to finishing off Lionheart, and I just S2 on Shu to just push up the team with Merciless Glutton. My Shu is currently on 94% crit because she's missing 2 imprints, and you'll actually see that she misses a lot more than 5% crits because why? She's on left side. You're right. This match goes on a lot longer than it should have just because of the bad RNG. My Zahak and Stenny dies here, but I honestly don't really care too much because Shu should have plenty of enough time to kill off unprotected, well, not unprotected, a Ruel, right? Shu has, I think it's like 77% pen with pen set on her S2, so she should make quick work of this Ruel, right? Right? But yeah, please stay tuned on how that is not what happens. My Shu, I don't risk it, and I just S2 into Politis to finish her off. And basically what you're gonna watch is me trying to dual attack or just normal attack Shu S1s into the rest of his team and finish him off before he can res someone else. But nope, we missed the crit and we don't get a follow-up attack. I S3 with Conquer Lilius to get some more like defensive buffs and to get more RNG music box procs. We get another dual attack that doesn't end up in an S2. Another hit that doesn't end up in an S2. And I just give up and just S3, no S2 on full focus. But yeah, imagine if it was Guild Wars. Like this Ruel would have been dead a long time ago. Like every time they hit Lionheart, no, every time they hit Conqueror Lilius, she would have countered. Every S1 would have led into an S2, and this Ruel would have been dead like 5 turns ago. But like, of course, we can't have good luck. Oh no. Like, how could we possibly have that? I just get more and more desperate and try to S1, S2 and fish for these procs, but we finally get one, but we don't crit, which is like, I've already missed like 4 crits, so I do eventually want to get the missing 2 imprints, but oh my god, this match tires me out so much. I finally S3 again on Shu for the anti-crit for the upcoming Lionheart S3, but then I realized I can just redirect provoke the Lionheart Sermia to the point where she can't S3 because she'll be forced to attack into my Shu. I think my opponent is assuming that my Shu is on counter set and that's why they're not poking Shu. Or maybe it's because they want to try and kill Conquer Lilius because she's giving Shu too many dual attacks, but I'm not too sure. But this match is honestly looking pretty rough. They soul burn for the heal and they get a counter attack, which is like, wow, first one this game. Thanks, Shu, I guess. But yeah, now I have to hope and pray that my Shu can kill this Lionheart before she can S3, and I don't strip off the defense buff, which is kind of bad, and it's gonna make it very difficult to kill. But I just have to pray to RNG at this point, and then again, my Shu doesn't proc at all. It's 40% by the way, but luckily the pen set and later frenzy really adds in a lot of damage, so I'm able to finish her off. I S2 because my Conqueror Lilius is getting pretty low and I need the sustain from the shield. And if my Shu is provoked by this FCC, I don't really care because she can still potentially do a lot of damage if she procs her S1, S2, but you know that's not gonna happen, so like, stay tuned. Yeah, I think I'm gonna count this when I edit the video, but like, the rates were not good. It's just never lucky. It's because I'm on left side, like. But yeah, do you see why I don't like bruiser matches, and especially the reason for this Vine meme? Well, it's not really a Vine meme, but it's like a very iconic clip from Archer. Like, if you haven't watched it, guys, I would very recommend it. Highly recommend it. But bruiser matches against tankdown players just take forever. But I also couldn't cleave him because he would pick, like, I faced him before and he would pick Green Armin and Sage Ball and I would just fucking lose. But yeah, here's a follow-up video. Like, I'm not trying to say that I'm like better than these legend players like Kana and Sixtuck. I'm just showing that if you outdraft them or like get a little lucky, you can beat them. Like, I would still say that I'm solidly a mid-Emperor tier player. Like, my drafts are a bit too inflexible for legend and they're not good enough. Like, so this was like multi-faceted. Like, my gear is not good enough for legend and I just don't have a wide enough roster to compensate. In this follow-up match against Sixtuck, I think I made a few mistakes. Like, I think I should have banned FCC because he was going to ban Operator Sigurd 100%, and then try to kill Ruel with the Hawk and Stenny, because I knew that he would put one of his 2 DPSs in the backline instead of Ruel. But my thought process in this match was that I would just S1 with the Hawk, because Lionheart without defense buff and Arya is gonna S3 anyway, so he would be safe. But I got a dual attack with Lionheart, and my Stenny and Zahak are about to get wiped, so I just rage quit and then just go into the next match. But yes, I definitely don't want to scam everyone who subscribe to an aggro player, and I want to show how some of these new tankier units can be used in standard. One unit that I am really liking as a tech lately is someone you'll see very soon, because I'll describe it more, but basically my opponent is playing like very regular standard. Like SC Arwell is a very popular pick because Escort plus Adamant Shield blocks a lot of damage. She strips and stuns, so not a lot of DPSs are safe unless your name is Stenny. She provides a massive shield. She just has a lot of utility, which is like hard to match. And they pick Edward because like if you are a Peira picker, you just have to get used to the fact that Edward and Dilibet are just units that you're going to see very often. But yes, the new tech I have for my aggro lineup is Yoha. Yoha is picked because some of these like anti-aggro units do really poorly against Yoha. Yoha has a lot of finishing power against a lot of bruisers because she has like the crowd damage, but she can hold Aureus, and she has some like more utility with redirected provoke on 100% chance, unlike Crow. Like I don't think Crow's S1 is 100%. She doesn't care if she sees seed, she pushes herself up when she's low enough to like one-shot units. I picked Caesarea here, threatening the Ed ban, so my opponent is forced to ban Caesarea. That's why I picked Caesarea into Edward. And thankfully my opponent does ban Caesarea, or she would be a very bad pick in this lineup, not gonna lie. But yeah, if you didn't notice, most people, the problem with Yoha is that people ignore her. But if you look at my draft, Peira goes into stealth, Faithless Lidica goes into stealth because of Guiding Light, and Spectre Tenebria is perma-stealth anyway. So you create a situation where Yoha doesn't look very threatening in the ban or pick phase, but then you get into game and then she's suddenly very scary to deal with. Also, this Alencia I think is on Snow Crystal, which is like quite the weird tech anyway. But I do reset her so that my stealth does not get stripped, and then Yoha can act as my tank. And as I said before, Yoha has a lot of utility with the redirected provoke, and she can solo against Senya's or Edward, given that she gets low enough without getting one shot, which is pretty reliable with how tanky I've made her, and with Escort. So it's very like, I think Peira and Yoha have a lot of synergy because Yoha protects her against like some of the issues that I had was that Peira would just like, if you pick Peira, Stenny, and Faithless Lidica, your fourth unit, if you pick really squishy like Anita, if they die, they can just target your Stenny and you don't really have a lot of damage, which is a big issue. But with Yoha in the back, you're given this like tanky meat shield that also reflects damage, which is not negligible. So I would highly recommend it if you pick Peira and Stenny a lot like I do. Like, Yoha is 10 out of 10. Also, did you notice how Alencia was able to S3 because Alencia did not get reset by Faithless Lidica? Because I didn't, but it's okay. I luckily am able to land the blind onto Senya, so she hopefully did not provoke lock my entire team, and Peira managed to avoid it, I guess. So all's well that ends well, I guess. And yeah, we're just left to grind down his team. Steady can potentially kill herself with the reflect from Senya's S2, and she can also proc counters from Edward. So this match still can go very poorly for me. But as I said, my opponent is forced to go into Yoha, which is going to proc her sooner or later. And although this Alencia is on injury set, it doesn't matter because I'm thinking that I'll be able to kill this Alencia before she injures my what's her face? Yoha too much. And yep, as I said, Yoha gets procced here. I actually opt to S3 onto the Edward because I'm kind of concerned that my Steny will eventually proc his S2 counter and kill her because she's at like no health right now because of all the AoEs that's been happening this game. I'm hoping that my Steny hits through this blind, but she doesn't. But luckily, she doesn't hit Edward either. And so my rationale here for the next turn is that if I hit Alencia and push her back, I'll be able to give my Steny attack buff to finish off Edward, even if he does get poisoned. But then I forget this stupid Alencia has Snow Crystal, so she doesn't get crit, and she survives till the next turn. But luckily, she doesn't resist the crit, so I think we'll be fine here. My opponent is being forced to auto attack into this Yoha, which is like the funniest thing ever. And I forgot to mention this, but this is an effectiveness Senya because my Yoha does have a non-negligible amount of effect resist. I think she's at 130 in this video to avoid enemy Steny, but it's fine. My Steny crits Senya, and Alencia kills herself on Yoha. So Yoha, low-key the MVP of this match. She wasn't the MVP, but she was there, and you know, she was useful, so more than I can say about like units like Arunka. So I'm so sorry Elsa, but you know. Anyway, and for the last match of today's video,
That's what I do.
it's going to be a very regular aggressive match for me. You know, you should be used to it by now. I've actually quite enjoyed picking Aiden because like Yoha or like Rylet, people don't really want to attack into Aiden unless they really have to because they're afraid of that S2 counter.
I'm clearly going to
But if you didn't know, units that are unable to be countered, like Faithless Lidica, S2, or Steny S1, actually proc her counter, but because it's unable to be countered, it doesn't happen, even if you hit them with an attack that can be countered the next turn. It's a little inconsistent because Rylet's S2 procs no matter what, even if it's uncounterable or not. So that's a little inconsistency that I didn't learn about until recently. But that's a fun fact, right? I've heard that people learn things from my videos, and I'm like, what do you learn? Not to pick like an ape, but like I'm very glad if people learn and enjoy my videos. And it's the time of the video again where I thank everyone for their support, especially some of my longtime friends who shower me with support, even though I'm sure this content is hella boring to them because they see me play this style a billion times. We start the match, and I'm quite surprised to see that my opponent banned Peira because Faithless Lidica is about to destroy his team. No, not Faithless Lidica. Faithless Lidica proccing Caesarea is about to destroy his team. His Landy's exposed, and I think in hindsight, I do this a little backwards. I should have bombed Sylvan Sage Vivian twice instead of Landy and then one-shot her. Because if this Arrowwell was able to cut and potentially stunned my Aiden, this Sylvan Sage Vivian had a real chance of being able to do something. Or like lifesteal up a bit due to DN cleansing. But luckily, as you'll see, my Aiden and Spectre Tenebria, excuse me, Spectre Tenebria are tuned to go before most standard units, so they're able to finish off Sylvan Sage Vivian, and we did it, guys. We bullied another standard player. Yeah. But yeah, please stay tuned. This Friday will most likely be a Zeo video, and I'll be running him on Speed Pensa and using him in aggro. And as always, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching my videos.